1954. Savon. Okay, Brown versus Board of Education. And what is Brown versus Board of Education? What is that?
The Brown versus Board of Education is when they want to talk about how it's not fair for the black people to be segregated from white people.
Great word, segregated, okay? Separate but equal is not really equal. So what does that mean had to happen after Brown versus Board of Education? What does that mean had to happen after Brown versus Board of Education in Virginia? AU.
The black integrate.
There's the word. Okay, they can integrate, right? They can all go to the same school. Remember we talked about segregating and integrating? Remember we talked about that? Okay, so Virginia was told that they had to integrate. Or what's that word?
Desegregate.
Desegregate. Okay. How did Virginia feel about that? That's what we want to talk about today. And I know you already have some good ideas, but what we're going to do is we're going to look at some political cartoons, but not political cartoons from the Washington Post from right now in 2008, political cartoons from Richmond, from the Richmond Times-Dispatch in 1954. Okay? We're going to look at political cartoons that were published in 1954 by the same artist that we looked at before, Fred Seibel. We're going to look at those political cartoons from 1954 and 58 and see what they say. We're going to do just what we just did with that political cartoon from today, or from last week, and we're going to look at what's in the cartoon and try and figure out what that's telling us, okay? Let me give you the first cartoon. Take a look at it. Talk with your buddy for a second. Take 1 minute to talk with your buddy. What do you see? Okay, let's do this first part together because we did not fill out a chart like this. Okay, so I'm right here on the table, and I want to write down something that I see in this cartoon. I want to write down something I see in this cartoon. What's the first thing that you see in this cartoon? What should I write down? Ermias.
Supreme Court segregation decision.
Okay, so you see the word, and what are those words on?
A rock.
Okay, so on my paper, I'm going to write big rock. Right here, big rock. Okay, because that's the first thing I see. There's a big rock in the middle of it. Okay, what are some of the other things I see that I'm going to fill out? What are some of the other things that I see? Tiffany?
A boat that says the South.
Okay, a boat that says the South. So I'm going to say boat. And I'm going to say the South.
In the background, there's like smoke and...
Okay, you pointing this back here?
Yeah.
Is it smoke? Cloud? Cloud and wind. And what cloud and wind, what do we kind of call that? Okay, bad weather.
The boat was actually in the sea before, and it was like going, but then the Supreme Court stopped it.
Okay, so she said the reason for the drips coming down from the boat is that it used to be in this water. That's the other thing that we're missing here, right? We're missing that there's an ocean right here, or the sea. What do the directions ask us to do here? Cynthia?
It's asking like what it might represent, like for like example, big rock. What like why did the person put the big rock in there? What does it like represent?
Perfect. Why did Fred draw a big rock in the middle of the ocean? Are there usually big rocks in the middle of the ocean like that?
No.
Okay, so why a rock? Why not a beach? Why not leave the boat in the ocean? Why a rock? Okay, do you understand that question? Make sense, Sabrina? Why a rock, Savon?
Because rocks are hard and big, and showing that like the Supreme Court decision was major in how the South lived.
Okay, because rocks are hard and big, right? And it's major. It's trying to say the Supreme Court decision is major. So I could write down here that it might represent a big, important thing. Okay, but wouldn't, let's say, an island be big? Why a rock? And look at the boat on the rock. Why a rock? Ermias?
Because the Supreme Court is like hard. It's like you can't like really deal with them a lot.
Okay, it's a problem. Is that what you're saying? Okay, so he's saying maybe it's a rock because it's a problem. If I had to draw a problem, a big rock with a boat on top, doesn't it look like the boat has a problem now?
Yeah.
Okay, so Fred gave us a big problem, right? So I might write down in my chart, which I think I'm going to do right now, that the rock represents a big problem. Big problem. Okay, and we know what the big problem is because Fred gave us a label, didn't he? Right? Here's the big problem. Who can answer it? What's the big problem?
That the Supreme Court decided to have segregation.
Desegregation. Okay, the Supreme Court told them to desegregate. The Supreme Court told Virginia it has to integrate its schools. That's the problem for these people in Richmond. Got it? Okay. What's our next? What's our next one? What's the next thing that we saw? What's the next thing that we saw? Favi? The boat. What do we think the boat means? Why did Fred give us a boat? Why did Fred give us a boat? Chris?
Because he wants to go to the south. The person in the boat wants to go to the south.
Okay, the boat represents the south, right? That's what it represents, and we don't have to guess too hard because they labeled it for us, didn't it? Okay, so I can write, what is the boat? It's the south. Not just Virginia, right? All the southern states that had Jim Crow laws or had segregated schools. Can everybody show me right now what it looks like to feel angry? Show me, what does it look like to feel angry? Good job, Cynthia, you got it. Okay, what does it look like to feel angry? Come on. There you go. All right, show me what it looks like to feel happy. Okay, how is he feeling? Look at him. How is he feeling? I don't know. Look at his face. Look.
Happy?
Let's not call out. Look really carefully. Look at his eyebrows. Okay. I'll show you angry. What happens with angry?
Your eyes go down.
They sure do. And what happens with happy?
They go up.
They do. Okay. How about surprised?
Just like normal.
Oh no, look at Cynthia's eyebrows. They're way up high, right? Look at Cynthia's eyebrows. Okay. How about scared? Your eyebrows go down a little bit. Okay. How is he feeling? How's he feeling? Look at him. How is he feeling? A little bit surprised? Okay, because his eyebrows are way up? Everybody agree with that? Yeah?
And he's wondering like that what will happen next.
Okay, what will happen next? So he's kind of wondering. He has a look of like, I'm not sure. Yeah?
Feels like worried.
Maybe a little bit worried. Okay, a little bit worried, a little bit surprised, a little bit wondering what's going on. Yeah? Curious. Okay, a little bit curious. Good words.
Like he's like, since he's on a rock, he's like, what am I supposed to do now? Where am I supposed to go?
Confused. Okay, so far we have curious, confused, surprised, worried. Okay, they are all comfortable or uncomfortable feelings?
Uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable feelings. But are they as bad as like angry?
No.
No, they're not quite as bad as angry. The title that Cynthia noticed is what? What's the title? Now what? That should help you figure out what this cartoon is about. What's going on? Yeah.
Now what are we gonna do with all the black and white people together?
Right.
Like our plan didn't work very well.
Okay, well, they told us that our plan stinks, right? They said we have to stop our plan. Our plan is Jim Crow, right? Our plan is segregation. They're telling us the plan has to stop. And now what do we do? Now what do we do with all those black people and white people? Right? That's what he's doing, right? We said his face is confused, a little bit worried, a little bit surprised, right? Curious. So he doesn't know what's going to happen. So the Virginians don't really know what to do with that decision. Okay? I think that's a really good interpretation.